review those requests. There should be no presumption
This guy.
that we will simply approve the request
Of course
of
not.
the President.
Why would we presume that you would support the President's bill for his defense spending? Why would we assume that?
No,
What were we
Thank you very
thinking?
much, Mr. Chairman. An organization called Blackwater.
Yes, the honorable
How many
company
contractors
named Blackwater, which we will now smear.
performing security functions in Iraq and Afghanistan?
Because anything that goes wrong in Iraq is
Mr.
your
Chairman,
political volleyball,
General,
isn't it?
The number that General Petraeus
Blackwater
gave
provides a service that the United
in
States military
a conference call yesterday
can't
was,
be everywhere, and frankly they do a very good
7,300.
job.
That's of the
Because they're not a military organization.
7,000 overall
They're there for
contract
profit.
employees
The
we have
best
in Iraq.
motive in the
That
world.
7,300 is not a comprehensive
In order to get into
number.
Blackwater,
Include,
you need to be
those
recon
security
or special
workers for
forces.
FMS and for some other entities.
Of
We
course,
can get
you
to
would
that
love it.
number, but,
It's right out of a
7,300
Hollywood movie if they were
is the
all
number that
corrupt,
General Petraeus has
mercenary
given.
hitmen.
Do any of them work for Blackwater?
No, sir, not at this time.
And what if they did?
How many contractors
Iraq is a dangerous country.
performing security?
Not that we
related
shouldn't work
tasks
on fixing
for
it.
Private companies
Are you shocked that there
that
was
are working for DOD
a shooting
in Iraq
incident?
and Afghanistan?
No shit. In the middle of Iraq, you're kidding me.
Blackwater a subcontractor to anyone?
I do have a figure that was given to us earlier.
going to take the name
on
Blackwater
numbers
and
that
smear it.
I'll have to get back to you on the total.
Although it's seeming like an innocent question,
7,300.
the job of that committee
The total that I have for companies that are working
is to make the word Blackwater
6,368.
a code word, much like other words that the American people accept, like weapons of mass
Yes, Mr.
destruction.
Chairman, I'm the
3
comptroller. My
words.
name is Tina.
Code for the President lied. Iraq War.
Mr. Secretary, who
Failure.
determines
Iraq War is
the
a code
rules
word
of
for failure
engagement
despite what happens on the
with
ground,
security
despite what the generals and
For
statistics
the
may tell you.
security firms that are employed
Just
by
keep saying
the
Blackwater and
Department of
asking
Defense.
questions.
They are
Expect us to
determined by the
sweat.
department and by the commanders on the ground.
Expect us to bleed and run afraid, because you said the word Blackwater.
Rules of engagement.
Yes, sir, they do. The rules that we have for our security contractors are called rules for the use of force to differentiate.
Why are you not asking
from
about the
rules of
specific
engagement.
incident?
Rules for the use of force are focused on defensive operations. The principal difference between rules of engagement for our forces and rules for the use of force by these
Defense
contractors
Secretary
is
Robert
really
Gates,
focused
I'm a
on
Democrat,
the
and
fact that
anything
they
that
are
happens
not
bad in
allowed to
Iraq,
carry
I'm going to
out
use to
offensive
smash
operations.
any honorable man of any kind, military or otherwise.
Presently investigating.
We have the
The United
proper,
States military cannot survive
procedures,
without
the
KBR.
proper rules
I
and the
believe it's a
proper
subsidiary
legal authorities in order
of a private
to
industry.
prosecute
We wouldn't eat.
contractors who
Our
violate
boys
the
wouldn't
law.
eat.
My
They run the
concern
chow
is
hall.
whether there has been sufficient accountability and oversight.
As being mercenaries. Do you agree with that?
By who?
Well, they certainly are being paid, but I would note that a number of the people working, at least for the American security
Or
firms,
former
are
military.
former members of the United States Armed Forces.
Not only are they former
I
military, you
don't
can't
think
even get in the
that,
door
I don't think they would
unless you're
consider themselves
recon
mercenaries.
or your special forces of some kind.
Do you think it would be
The past 15 years is the fact that we don't have the number of people that we require to perform logistics and transportation and cooking and laundry and the various kinds of mundane things that have
We
to
don't
be done
need
on
to.
a daily basis.
The
That's
military
why we
should
have
be killing people.
177,000
We
contractors
shouldn't
that
have
carry
MOSs or
out
jobs in the
functions.
military where you're a cook. Phase out the
Perhaps
cooks.
some of
Let the civilians have it.
transferred to the military if we proceed with the expansion of the Marine Corps and the Army, but I think our focus should remain on how do we increase
Kill,
the
kill,
combat
kill.
capabilities of the American
Stop
Armed
cooking.
Forces, and if some of these functions can be carried out better by
Civilians.
private contractors,
There you go. They
then
do.
that may be the way to go.
Thank you for mentioning Blackwater and attempt to...
Mr. Chairman, I yield to my family.
A small fraction of those that are in the country today.
Do we still
And
have troops
I
in
think
Japan?
no one really knows
Robert
what
K.
the duration of their
Byrd?
presence there would be. It would depend, I suspect.
Wouldn't the presence,
on the
exactly,
nature of
wouldn't the
Iraqi
presence
government,
of the U.S.
on
military
specific
depend on the
reasons,
enemy?
What the Iranians are trying to do.
Not on you.
And others in the...
Or on whether a woman
in the region
or
the
black Democrat is in the
purpose
House,
of that kind of a
or in the
of
Congress,
a
or in the Senate, or in
longer-term
the presidency.
should it be agreed, would be first of all to continue the fight against Al Qaeda.
I know you hate white Republicans. This is a strange change for you, Robert K.K. Byrd.
And to continue to train and equip the Iraqi forces. So it would be a very different kind of mission than our troops have today.
Are you aware of operational plans for the long-term presence of U.S. troops?
I'm sure there will be.
I'm not. I may defer to General Pace on this. I am not aware of any plans at this point for a long-term presence. This has been largely a subject of discussion, but I don't think there's been any detailed
So if there's a long-term presence, you don't support it.
Sure, there's been no
You haven't supported a short-term presence. What difference does it make how long they're going to be there if you never wanted them there in the first place?
Significant differences between the situation in South Korea and Iraq?
Yes, the major difference being is that they don't have a history of Islamic jihad.
I think that
They don't have a history of suicidal bomb attacks against our troops in our country, whereas the Middle East does.
An ongoing partnership.
Meanwhile, in North Korea, they
between the
are, on
United
paper at
States
least,
and another country,
agreed to let UN inspectors in and check their weapons
small
of mass
presence in that
destruction.
country as part of a security relationship.
Their nuclear weapons.
Don't you think Congress and future administrations must be integral to such a far-reaching decision?
Integral when I sing songs
I think
instead
the
of
Congress has to
talking.
be involved in that.
And then I repeat. I say repeat.
Secretary Gates,
Magic hand
the
movements.
President has made much of the tactical notion that the U.S. effort in Iraq is supported by a coalition of the willing.
Yes.
In fact, over 93% of the troops in Iraq are U.S. troops.
And we are very willing.
65,000 U.S. troops in Iraq are supported by only
Resolution 1441, because the UN is useless. It has no arm. Its entire military wing was accused of rape in Africa. It can do nothing but deliver food. It is useless.
25,000 employees.
So, when you mention the fact that 93% of all troops are the U.S. military, that is correct. We are supporting Resolution 1441 of the UN Charter. The UN Charter. Their rules. The world's rules, which you love to mention. I don't give a shit what message it sends, as long as the enemy dies. It sends this message.
In support of the war effort, the United States sends contractors with no accountability, no rules.
Here we go. The slandering of Blackwater rages on. It started here, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, the contractors are not...
By the way, when you say with all due respect,
they
you
do
really
have
mean is,
rules.
Mr. Chairman,
the concern
please
that we
go fuck
have is
yourself.
to ensure that we are enforcing the rules that we've asked them to
You say
abide
with
by.
all due
That's
respect,
what
you're
we're
about to
looking
say
at right
something
now.
that has
I would say
no respect in it.
numbers are quite accurate. There are about 12,000
Let's bash former military members
troops in
as
Iraq,
mercenary hitmen,
representing
because we also believe, as far as the Democratic and Liberal Party,
some of them may
that when soldiers come home, they are just psychopaths, led to violence, with PTSD, must be calmed down with therapy.
And in the Basra,
They are not professional soldiers performing a duty that is necessary, like a surgical scalpel, eliminating the enemy one by one. They are just murderers who are on this aggressive course. Ooh, cheery.
Gates, the latest national intelligence
Yes?
estimate points
Oh my,
out that
did you hear that pause? In the middle, national intelligence.
on 9/11
Pause.
have rebuilt
Pause.
and established
Stab
a
you.
safe haven in Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Really?
The terrorists who attacked us on 9/11...
You mean Al-Qaeda? You mean the jihadis want to take over the world?
Not Iraq.
Oh, really? There was no Al-Qaeda connection in Iraq. That's good to know.
Commitment of blood and
I thought there was no Al-Qaeda in Iraq.
Saver.
At least until we got there. Because it's always the United States' fault as to what the terrorists do.
2003, I think there's
Isn't that
no
right?
question in terms of that national estimate. Or
Well, if we weren't the free and sovereign nation, they wouldn't have attacked us. Al-Qaeda, bullshit!
People who believe that were we to leave precipitously,
It definitely had something to do with Al-Qaeda.
would not re-engage
But you just like to repeat it,
de-escalate their
because you assume that you can hammer that into the American public's head, which apparently they've
and I think that most of the intelligence
sold it.
experts would believe that the next target would
that there's no all kind of connection in Iraq, never was until we got there.